Hey everybody, welcome. Hope you're all doing well. My name is Cooper Bibaud. I'm a writer, actor, and producer of film, television, and video games. Today I'm taking a look at my video game that I'm making right now called Billy Saves the World. You can wishlist it on Steam right now. Today I thought I would just show you guys how I design levels. It's a bit, I think, a little unique to what you may be used to. So we use a custom tool that was made, or I use a custom tool that was made for me way back. This is before it was a lot easier in Unity, so something like this didn't really exist at the time we built. This is like over a decade ago that we were starting to build this tool, and my original programmer was making it for me because I don't know how to use Unity or code or do anything at all, and so he thought, hey, why don't I make you a little bit more accessible tool? And then as years went on, Unity ended up making some updates to things, and now it's a lot easier. I still don't know how to use it. I haven't jumped into it yet. I'll learn it eventually, but this is what I've been using to build my game so far. So it's very easy. It's very tile-based, drag and drop. It's actually a very good tool for myself and for designing specifically. Everything else, not the greatest. Probably won't use it again in the future, but it's quite cool. Anyway, so this is just me building out a standard level. So in my game, there is a lot of different small, dense hub worlds that you can explore. And while exploring them, you'll discover caves. And if you want to go into these caves, they're all optional. I think there's going to be 28, 29, or 30 caves to explore in the final game. All of them are optional. But you can think of caves as traditional platforming levels that you would find in any kind of platforming game. It's kind of a left to right kind of deal. They're all very different. Some of them are puzzle based. Most of them are action based, and most of them have multiple routes. You'll know this if you've listened to me on the podcast that I do every month, or if you've been following my premium blog over at Patreon, patreon.com/Cooper Bibaud. Excuse my voice. I'm still sick. I'm recovering from a cold. But for those of you that might be new here, my levels are usually very kind of open-ended. I kind of reference Sonic the Hedgehog and how Sonic has a lot of different levels to their levels. There's like an upper, middle, and lower route. And a lot of my levels follow that path where it's like, okay, there's multiple ways to get from the start point to the end point. This is one of the rare cases where this level is very linear. Again, if you don't want, this is potentially a spoiler if you're super insane about spoilers, but I'm just kind of revealing this entire level here. But so this level here is called Narrow, and it's unique because I'm pushing the camera in very close for this level. And I wanted it to feel a bit claustrophobic, a little eerie, a little scary. And you'll see that's what I'm doing here. I'm kind of testing the lights. So let me go back and comment on how I built it. So I start off by doing the background layer. As you can see, I put all those tiles in the background. And now I'm just trying out different placements for the mid-ground. This is the literal, the ground that the player will play on. Testing out the camera angle, testing out how things look, framing, and all that kind of stuff. The way I make levels, probably not the most efficient, and probably not the way that most designers approach making levels, because a lot of designers will block a level out very sloppily first, just to get it out on paper. They don't really worry about how it looks visually. I kind of like to do things visually as I go, because I think the visuals actually dictate the design a lot of times. I try to think of things in terms of pacing and how things look, so that it's always interesting as the player goes on. For this particular level, I didn't really have a plan in my head about what kind of obstacles the player would face. This one really was the concept of claustrophobic, close in, zoomed in, and also this level requires a potion of bright. So in my game, there's potions. Right now, you can see I'm creating paths for platforms. It's really cool. You can just literally just draw right on the level, create paths that the platforms will follow, and these ones are obviously going side to side here. just adjusting them. But yeah, in my game, you can you can find potions that will light up your character. Right now, I'm using torches so that I can actually see when I'm designing and actually playing the level. And I could just leave the lights on the whole time, but I like to actually see what it's going to look like for players. So overall, this level is actually quite basic. It takes a little bit of effort to actually get inside this level. There's a bit of a puzzle in order to get access to this level. It's easy to find. It's easy to discover this particular cave. It's called Narrow. You can find it pretty early in the game, but you won't be able to access it potentially ever, depending on what you say and do in your playthrough. But if you actually get inside this cave, it won't be the most challenging. You'll need some items to get in it and then to get through it. But the actual stage itself, it's linear. There's no way to get lost. It's straight left to right. It's short. And it's not that tricky. So it's one of the easier levels, I would say, but one of the more difficult ones to actually experience. So right now, as you can see, I'm just testing out the fireballs, the speed of them. I'm just trying to, I could just be answering a text right now. I have no idea why I'm standing on this for so long, but I might just be trying to work out timing in my head with this part here. But yeah, so since the screen's kind of looking at the editor right now, on the left are my tile sets. It's a mess. I really wish I could go through. There was multiple people using my asset library, and everyone kind of made a mess of it on it. So I have to almost memorize where individual tiles are, and there's so many of them. So on the left are all the different tile sets and categories. Up top are a lot of the different options I have. I can set the different layers and distances. I can create parallax. Right now, I'm adjusting the height of the roof because I think I realize it's not going to be tall enough. So I'm kind of redoing that. That's an example of where my style is not too efficient. Like even right now, I'm making kind of in quotes a mistake that I'm still. I'm doing everything. I'm making it look finalized, even though it may not be. Even though it may need to be adjusted. I just like everything looking as good as possible as I go because I like to play test a lot as well. So as I create, I'm play testing constantly. So by the time I'm done a level, I've already played it 1,000 times. Now you got to be careful there if you're doing that because that means you're getting really good at the game and you're getting really, really good at that level. So you got to remember that by the time you're done, you might master the level and be really good at it, but you got to remember that most players are going to come into it fresh. So here's me doing a quick test. So you can see it was really low level of brightness, and so I had to use a potion of bright to give myself some. So I'm just testing out the height of the puzzle or the spikes there. So now I can see in the darkness. I'm running through all the basic obstacles. I can already tell I don't like the see. So camera's not low enough here. I can't even see the ground. That's going to be a problem. So I'm just testing out that, eyeballing it. And that was it. The level is very quick. So here is, I think, now you're seeing a real-time playthrough of a nearly completed level. So I've got a lot more details in there. I've got a lot more, a lot of, this is pretty close to how the level will look in the final game. So I think it's really cool looking. It's very eerie. It does have that claustrophobic feeling. This part I love because the camera is so pushed in, you don't get a lot of time to react to that fireball. So that's kind of cool. I like all the foreground items, all the the webs hanging. I know I actually recorded this a couple weeks ago. I know since recording it, I've gone back and touched up a few things and added a few more details. I kind of want to make it more difficult or longer, but I decided I'd just keep it nice and simple. Sometimes it's nice to have a nice, easy, in quotes, an easy level. There's those webs that look really cool. You can kind of see through them a bit. And here's some critters. They're not properly lit. They should be. We got to work on those guys. They're not finished yet. But they'll be They'll be in there in the final game. And we're getting close to the end here. Now there's a fireball coming behind you. You want to get to this little opening here as quickly as possible so you can dodge that. And then I think that's it. Yeah, and that's the end of the level. So thanks for watching. Again, my name is Cooper Bibaud. The game is Billy Saves the World. I hope you liked watching me design. And if the game looks cool to you, go give it a wish list. It's on Steam. Again, Billy Saves the World on Steam. Wish list now. Join the Discord. You'll get lots of free videos like this. You can join my Patreon. There's all sorts of stuff. Cooper Bibaud. That's it. Take care. Until next time. Goodbye.